Hello and welcome to this Project in Box video tour. This is the second of the detailed tours looking at the specifics of what's been delivered in the new version 4.2, focusing around reporting and new methods. So the first tour looked in detail at property extensions. Here we're looking at the remaining items, reporting to Word, benefits management, methods and dashboards. So here we are in our project management tool, and we can see here in a portfolio of 2015 tests, these are the new methods that are provided as standard. The particular ones that we'll have a look at are the OneStep 1, 3, 4 and 5 step methods for your lighter, less complex projects, Prince2 Resource Pack, and 2 methods for supporting your lessons learned and PMO best practice. Just here, actually looking at the properties view that we are, gives us a feel actually for what's included in them. So here we can see we've got benefits information for our 3, 4, 5 step and Prince2 Resource Pack. So these are our medium to large type projects, some small projects in fact, and they all now include benefits information. So we've got a benefits register for collecting and managing that benefits information, statuses and other such things. For our very small, mini, micro, perhaps not even projects, OneStep Method, we don't include benefit management. We think it's probably not appropriate at that level. You could of course add it if you wanted to. And then the lessons learned and PMO best practice and PPP, which is proposal preparation process, also all don't include benefits management. Again, if you wanted to include some of those things, if you want to take our benefits management approach and put it into your own projects, you could do that as well. So let's have a little look at one of these projects. Here we've got 4-step method with some benefits management in. So let's go off and open that project up and have a look at it. So while we're here, we'll have a little think about how the methods have changed. We'll have a look at this one in detail and we'll go on away and look at some of the others in perhaps a lighter way. For those of you familiar already with our methods, you'll recognise the process model is basically the same. We've rearranged slightly how things are laid out on the screen. And one of the particular things we've done is to change the sort of tools panel here to a My Involvement panel. So what this is doing is it's showing immediately when you log on the things associated with you for the project. Task, risk, issues, resource profile. Now if it's a brand new project and it's got task, risks and issues in and they're not allocated to you yet, or there is nothing allocated for you, then you'll get essentially a nil return. You'll get something saying there was nothing here for you. But this is about drawing the attention of predominantly team members when they first come into the project to things associated with them. And that's really quite a useful thing to be able to do. They don't need any training to see my project task, click on it and see what those tasks might be. If you're the project manager or some other level of ownership through the system, you can jump away to the project tasks, which is the full project task list with everything that's allocated on this project, whoever that might be to, obviously not to me in this particular case, otherwise they'd appear on my task list. Same with risks and issues and resource charts. So that little bit of extra training or bit of investigation will enable you to go off and look at a different data range, but it's about giving that immediate access to individuals to their content. Of course, if we want to go off and see more tools, very much in the similar way to how we did previously, we can see a larger set of tools. We've expanded the My Involvement area here, and then we've grouped together other particular aspects. And because this time the same diagrams are given to absolutely everybody, it tells you here what sort of permissions you may need to be able to access some of these things. So if you are a low-level team member, you're shown the same buttons, but you may not be able to use them with your permissions level. You'd get a, sorry, this functionality is not available to you type of message. So we've simplified a little bit. Previously in the old methods there was quite a large set of buttons there. This is focusing it in on the particular things that people might want to do by topic: reporting, administration. And the purple set here, beyond projects, this is taking you up to think about portfolio level things. So again, even project managers on the project may not be able to access some of these things. So that's our restructured method, and we'll have a look at some of the other ones later. Let's just have a quick look at working with the benefits approach. So the benefits template and tool is now available across all of the processes here. We can see we've got a register, I can check that out. And that's going to open up for me here, and it opens up immediately in the register pane, so I can start entering data. You can see it's a blank template, just like with all Project in a Box standard templates and standard methods. We provide you with starter for 10. This is based on our experience of talking to customers about what they actually collect in the real world. Of course, if you want to expand it to collect more, reduce it to collect less, you can. It's a spreadsheet. You can customize it to do whatever you want it to do. In fact, you can use your own if you already have your own, but this has been set up with some particular reporting in mind. If we come back to the Benefits Types tab here, you can of course customize these things if you want to. There are some mandatory, preset, standard type of benefits, but there are other ones that you can alter the pick list, and you can also change the status types if you want to. When we come back to our register, we'll see it's pretty straightforward to fill this sort of thing in. We can pick things from a list, so let's say we've got a financial benefit here, and our measure for that's going to be something financial, like a figure. So let's put something in like that. We've got some sort of description of what's going on, and we can then start to fill out other information associated with this benefit. You'll see after a period of time it starts populating the fact we've got an ID, and once it feels it has enough information, it will start to include it in the charts and the analysis. We can give a rating, significance here, and this allows us, when we're grouping our benefits at portfolio levels, to make sure the most significant ones rise to the top. We order by that. We can store some ownership information if we want to. Requirements for delivery, what are we going to have to do to make this happen, how are we going to measure it, notes about progress, what have we actually delivered against the benefit, and then some status information. And so here I'm going to identify that this is identified only. And you see, once we've got that basic set of information in, it starts to appear here in the categorization that's appropriate for it in terms of benefits by type, finances and status. And of course we can change these very easily by just changing what appears in the pick list, and these charts will all change accordingly. So designed for ease of use. Up here we have a couple of things. We can put our project code in here, and that will, our project name if you like, and that will then tag the IDs coming from this project. And we can also choose an overall benefit status for this project: insufficient, weak, acceptable, exceptional and delivered. And again, of course, you could change these things if you want to. So fairly straightforward to enter and use, pretty simple, but it's going to give you quite a powerful output. And the key thing about this is getting this data out so you can use it. So here in the Export tab, we have some standard bits of analysis, bringing out a table here of benefits lists. When we come to report on it, we just get the benefits that have been completed. So it's only going to show a header row and one row in this project. In some of the others we might get more, and of course when we then combine this table together at portfolio level, which can happen automatically for us, it will merge together and ignore the blank rows. So really helpful at getting a sort of concise list drawn up. We have another table here which is just for use in portfolio level, and this gives us more of an analysis view, one row per project, and it totals together at the bottom. So when we've got 10 projects in here, we'll see the total financial picture, total number of benefits by type, etc. Really useful for getting a quick overview of what's going on. We also export the charts as images, so you can include those in your projects. And we're also, just coming back to the topic of properties that was in the earlier tour, sending out a standard set of this information as benefit properties. So all of these properties are available, and as we saw earlier, we can then see those on our project pickers and in our dashboards and in our reports, and we can run analysis against those. So when I check the spreadsheet back in, it's going to point out that we've now got a benefit budget value of 5,000 against this project, and some identified benefits, etc. The final tab in here is a benefit summary. This is automatically assembled for you based on the data you've filled in, and it's then exported as an image, which can be again used into reports, picking up your status, some of the value information, number of benefits you've got, how are you progressing with them in terms of delivery, etc. So pretty straightforward, not much that you have to do. We've done a lot of the work for you. As discussed, of course, you can change this anytime you want to and put in something different. So when I check this back in, it will have read that data out into the reporting as we're familiar with, and when I come back and look at my project pick list here, we now see we've got some benefit values against our project. So pretty straightforward to do. All happens automatically for you behind the scenes because it's been set up in the method. You create your project, all that structure's already there. So very easy to start collecting that information together across portfolios of projects and seeing how you're going with budgeted benefits and delivered benefit values. So let's have a look through some of the other projects. We'll come back and look at some of the reporting in a minute, and we'll pick up benefit reporting there. So we looked at 4-step project. I'm just going to flash through some of these others quite quickly. Here's the 3-step. Works in exactly the same approach. Again, we like that consistency, that if people are used to using one method, they can pick up the next one nice and easily. All has exactly the same sort of arrangement. Purple for beyond projects, tones of your current method colour for the other content, my involvement in grey, benefits included of course as it was in the other methods. If we go down to the other end of the extreme, the OneStep method, we've got a same sort of approach here. We don't have benefits built into here, and here we've got it all on one diagram because we want to encourage even smaller levels of interaction. It's a very simple, light sort of sub-project, simple change request perhaps, and we just want it doing nice and quickly. But the tools are here to be able to manage the integration of this into other activities, other resource management processes, etc. running in the system. So those are the full Prince2 resource pack also includes the benefits management tool, and is in the similar format obviously to the other methods. So these are the standard available free method templates. They all follow that same process. When we come back and look at some of the other things in here, so we've got the PPP method, proposal preparation process, again using that newer styling, still the same content as before. Again, if you wanted to include benefits management in here you could. We haven't, we've chosen not to in this particular case. Some of these other methods that are used up at the portfolio level are also worth looking at. So here we've got a lessons learned library, and this allows you to group together all the content for lessons regarding lessons and issues and risk management and things like that across all of your separate projects. You have a library you can populate with all of that content from the different projects, and you can then search through it. So certain people of permission level can of course include content in the library, and other people can then just come and search through that to find references to things that they're interested in. Nice and easy to use, but very powerful in terms of making all that sort of thing happen. And we also have the PMO best practice method. Both of these beyond project level things, organisation level things in purple, that's the standard colour we're using for those sorts of things, hence the beyond projects colours in the methods, and picking those up here. Now these links take you to particular topics. Normally this is provided empty, so you can build in the business level guidance and best practice materials that you have in these particular areas, so that the team members can then come to this and view any of that content that they're interested in. Many customers in fact change these, put in their own colour schemes, etc., and change the topics, and that's also of course pretty straightforward to do. So that was a little look around some of those newer methods. Haven't looked at them all, but they all follow a similar sort of pattern, and there'll be a video tour on the website taking you through the full range of methods that are provided in the system in due course. So let's go back and have a look at the new reporting features now. We looked at some of those in the properties area previously. I'm going to pick up here a project that's been running for a little while to investigate further, and that's my project in here. So using a slightly older method, older version of the method, but actually it doesn't particularly matter in this case. This one's had a benefits spreadsheet added in and the data ranges added to it, and it can therefore integrate with all the other projects for benefits reporting. No problem with that at all. What we want to look at here is particularly the changes to the reporting in general. So this project's been running for a little while with some data in is a more useful exercise. Let's pick the project report form first. Now this form has changed a little bit. In particular, we've got the notes field on the end here, and this tells me something about what this current loaded report is going to do. Of course, if you save your own reports, you can save your own notes, giving people some guidance about what they're going to get, how they can change it, etc. So I'm just going to go off and load a new report specification. You'll see the ones all headed up with 2015 are the new latest ones. If you've upgraded from an older version of Project in a Box, you may have double the set of reports because you may have some pre-2015 versions as well. So I'm going to firstly do poster to browser. So you see the notes have changed. It's changed through here what it's going to pick up to include, and this all works in the same way as it did before. Notably, we have a sort of expanded project properties section here where you can add many of them. You can temporarily hide them, include them, move them around in order, etc., which you couldn't do before. And when we come to presentation options, we have a more sophisticated set of output options. We can either output to HTML, much better for reading on screen, or to Word. And if we output to Word, we've got a choice of the formats. So this one is a poster report to HTML. That was saved in its specification. So when I run that, that's what we're going to get. And we can here have a look at the comparison between the two different modes. Okay, so here's our output to the browser. We've changed around the format of the poster a little bit. Much of it is still the same. We used to have images up in this top right corner. We've now gone sort of highlight, status, information, benefits, finances. And you'll see this is the same benefits chart coming out of our benefits spreadsheet. We've then got planning, and we've got our images, we've got risk and issue analysis, then we've got project specific things following, and here in fact at the bottom is our benefit list, cropped down to just show the ones that are relevant for this particular project, blanks removed, etc. So that's nice and straightforward. For the browser, great for reading on the screen. It's going to maximize the layout so we can see it all nice and clearly, and it's probably a little bit quicker to produce. Now if we wanted to run that to Word, we can do that. We could either manually switch to Word and choose an option here, or we can load that from the specification because the specification includes that output element to it now. So if I go poster to Word, all the rest of these things have stayed the same, but it's gone to Word and poster style report. So we'll just have a little look between what this combination of things mean. Firstly, we'll just run the report. So here's my report produced into Word. Now you'll see immediately that this is a proper Word document, project.docx. Previously we'd have produced it as HTML and displayed it in Word. Now that would have meant that it picked up whatever the browser was using, and that meant it couldn't do headers and footers really very well, and it would lay out as wide as it felt it needed. Here what we're doing is we're injecting content into a standard Word template using the XML structure of the Word document. So we're getting a precisely, properly Word document. I could just save this, I could print it immediately, and I'd get a good looking output from it. It's using a template, so that Word template has a logo in it. It has headers and footers in it, so we've got page numbers, etc. And the text is dropped into table slots, and the tables and images are dropped into table slots. So we get exactly the same content, but laid out and structured by Word instead. So looks pretty good sort of thing. Of course it's in Word, so you can edit it if you want to get it exactly how you would like it, but basically it's there ready to go. If we have a look at what the print format looks like, we can see it's picking up the standard page arrangements as it was when we were looking at it on the layout, ready to print. And in fact this template is an A4 template, so it's going to print to A4. You can sort out your standard report templates so they're A3 if you want to. You can have them landscape or portrait or whatever you would like to best fit the data in. So lots of flexibility there about how that works. We have two arrangements when we're outputting to Word templates. We have what's called the standard report, where it includes everything in a standard ordered arrangement, and we have poster style report, where it includes only the things that you've specifically asked for, and you can go into your Word template and write in the things that you would like to include, and it will include them for you. So let me go and show you an example of that. I'm going to do that using the full standard project report to Word. So this is using Word standard report. When we run that, it's telling me I've asked to include a quality log, and I don't have one set for this project, so that's nice from a quality assurance perspective. And I'm getting this time not landscape but portrait, slightly different format. And this time I'm getting a whole set of different data down the screen in my document. So all the things that are included in this project, all my different spreadsheets, all my risk and issue analysis and Gantt charts and all those sorts of things included in here. We can see it's quite a detailed report. It's running to 20 pages of Word, so there's a lot in there, but there may be a lot in some of our project reports. The poster I think was 3 or 4 pages, so it was choosing particular things it wanted to include and focusing on those, and that's the idea, the difference between this standard, where it includes everything you've selected, and in fact we've got the full document quality list at the bottom, which is why it's making it particularly long. So standard report includes everything. Poster style report, let's just switch to that instead. So this is using a report template which is default, so that's going to lay me out in default arrangement and default graphics, and it's going to include what we call poster style here, which means just the things you've specifically asked for. We're going to go off in a second and have a look at how that's structured in the Word file. So now this one is immediately different. It's using the same report template, but we actually have two different templates. One we call for standard, which includes everything. One we call for poster, which just includes a set of things. And we can see this is 6 pages, and it's immediately different because we've got our status reporting block at the top. We can see some Gantt charts, risks and issues quite quickly, and we've got then some benefits information further down here, and our highlight report block. So definitely a different sort of layout. I'm going to leave that so that we can see that on the screen, and we'll go and have a look at the actual template that's been used here. So if I open the report template folder, we're in default, so these are the default contents here, and we can see here we've got 4 different templates, Word templates. We've got Word to portfolio, standard, Word to portfolio, poster, Word to project, standard, Word to project, poster. So when we were looking at Word to project, if I open this template, you'll see here's the template file, which has got my logo in it and my header and footer arrangement and my defined font sizes. So I've defined in here what I want normal to look like, what I want heading 1 to look like, etc. And those are then used as we inject content into the Word file. And I've got a code that I want to include the project display name in the header and the content of project report in the main body. That's all I need to do for a standard report. It will put everything in that's defined in project report. If I want to run my my report as a poster style report here, we can see it's slightly different. The basics of it are the same in that we've got our logos and headers and footers and page arrangements and fonts and all that sort of thing, borders. We can set up all that exactly how you want it. But I've chosen here what I want to include. And this is a very simple naming convention where you've got an underscore starting and finishing the name of an item. And the name of this item picks up then the ones that are used and generated by the reporting. So my view in the project report setup has something called project risks, so it includes that, project Gantt chart, so it includes whatever is set up in that. I've got benefits list as a named spreadsheet block, and therefore it brings that out and puts it into my report. So it makes that very, very easy to pick up the standard things that you've called in your report. If we just come back to the report here and see those here, that it's picking up some of these things. It's not picking up resource chart because we haven't asked it to. If we wanted it to put resource chart in as well, we could just simply come to here and type in __ project resource chart __, and it would then include it. So you can very easily set that up. Obviously the full poster that we looked at earlier had a preset table arrangement, so we were putting things in particular places in a landscape table. But it's very easy for you to decide exactly how you want this to look just by using Word. So you just simply decide what the names of these things are going to be, which things you might include in your spreadsheet blocks, and then set up a Word template to accept those things. So very straightforward, and that's, our reporting, people have liked our reporting for a long time because it gives them a lot of flexibility, but in practice to get some of that flexibility they needed to understand some HTML. And that's still the case to some extent to get reporting out into your browser if you want to customize it heavily. But customizing it into Word is now very, very straightforward. So those standard reports that you're producing for the board, for the project sponsors, etc., you can get the format that they want really quite easily. And of course you can then save those things as custom report formats if you want to. So reporting to Word works at the project. It works exactly the same way at the portfolio level, and gives you an awful lot of flexibility about what you're doing with your reports. The previous section on properties looked at reporting through properties, so I'm not going to cover that again here. So that sort of brings us to the end of this session. We've looked at reporting to Word, benefits management, the new set of methods. We've looked at the set of reports that go with those, and into how those come out into dashboards. So hopefully you found that useful. And if you have any further questions around the new version 4.2, what it does, how it works, what it can do for you, then please do drop us a line and we'll be delighted to discuss that further with you. Thank you very much.